Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Breaking news this noon. President Trump pauses tariffs on goods from Mexico. What prompted the change?
And stocks react to tariff talks between the three leaders. You can see we're down 150 now.
Also, $1 billion. That is how much Governor Josh Stein is proposing for hurricane relief in western North Carolina. Will state lawmakers, though, approve that plan? At breaking news this noon, President Trump pauses tariffs on goods from Mexico. And a good afternoon to you. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Laura Levine in for Renee Chu. Thank you for joining us. That temporary pause there, we know from the tariff and conversations that are ongoing this morning with the leaders in Canada and in Mexico. Mexico's president agreed to send 10,000 troops to the border to stave off illegal crossings. NBC's Garrett Hake explains how the other nations plan to respond.
Overnight, President Trump defending those sweeping new tariffs.
We may have short-term a little pain, and people understand that. But long-term, the United States has been ripped off by virtually every country in the world.
Mr. Trump imposing 25% tariffs on most imports from Canada and Mexico that could impact everything from oil and lumber to produce and auto parts. He also ordered a 10% tariff on all Chinese goods. Even key Republicans sounding the alarm about the impact to Americans' wallets.
It will drive the cost of everything up. In other words, it'll be paid for by American consumers. Why would you want to get in a fight with your allies over this?
Canada's prime minister warning Americans will feel the pain.
Tariffs against Canada will put your jobs at risk.
While Canadian crowds at sporting events this weekend booed during the U.S. national anthem. It comes as a government purge continues to escalate, including 6 senior leaders at the FBI fired Friday. And the top 2 security officials at the U.S. Agency for International Development were also placed on administrative leave, 5 sources say, after they tried to prevent employees from the Elon Musk-led Department of Government Efficiency from accessing sensitive computer systems. Musk saying overnight that he's in the process of shutting down the agency, which coordinates the U.S.'s overseas humanitarian assistance, adding the president approves.
I went over it with him, in detail, and he agreed with.
All as his agency may be gaining even more power. The New York Times reporting, according to 5 sources, that some of Musk's team has gained access to the federal payment system. That system sends out money after it's approved by Congress and contains sensitive information from millions of Americans who get federal payments like Social Security checks.
That was Garrett Hake reporting. Meanwhile, Ontario is scrapping its $100 million contract with Elon Musk's Starlink. The Ontario premier signed the deal last year to bring high-speed internet to rural residents. Now he says he will not do business with people hell-bent on destroying their economy.
Let's take a look at our economy and the New York Stock Exchange right now. This is what it looks like on Wall Street at this hour. Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 152 points right now. It was down over 500 points earlier today. So a bit of a rebound maybe after this latest news. NASDAQ tech heavy. It is down 250 points this noon. S&P 500 is down 32 right now. Governor Josh Stein is calling on state lawmakers to put a lot more money into hurricane relief efforts. And he made that announcement today in hard-hit Henderson County. WRAL Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie joins us live outside the governor's mansion with what he is asking for. A big number here, Laura.
Jeff, that's right. Governor Stein traveled all the way to Mills River today to make that budget request for Hurricane Helene relief. Mills River is a small town near Asheville that suffered pretty extensive damage from that September storm. Helene killed at least 104 people in western North Carolina and caused more than $50 billion with a B in damages. The disaster area includes nearly a third of the state's counties. But so far, state lawmakers have allocated less than $1 billion in state funding for relief and recovery. They say they want to wait and see what the federal relief funding will be first, but that's been slow in coming. And Stein is asking for $1 billion more now. He says Western North Carolina can't afford to wait any longer to start rebuilding.
But there are some things that the federal government won't pay for and that the people of Western North Carolina need now.
Stein made his announcement at the Manna Food Bank in Mills River, which serves 16 different western North Carolina counties. Some of the specific areas he's requesting funding for include $150 million for 2 grant programs that would help storm-affected businesses stay open, $150 million to get started rebuilding an estimated 5,100 homes destroyed by that storm, and $100 million in grants to local governments that are running out of money to keep their schools and public safety services going in the wake of that storm. State lawmakers have said they want to get to work quickly this session to get more money out to western North Carolina, but it's unclear at this point whether they're going to agree to send that much more money all at one time. We're not expecting them to take any votes here for at least a couple of weeks. Laura Leslie, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Laura, thank you. Well, sunny skies this afternoon with temperatures well above normal. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is on the WRAL weather patio with a look at some big temperature swings this week. Hey, Elizabeth.
Hey, loving these temperatures. It feels really nice right here. The clouds are going to go behind the trees here in a few minutes, and then I may be a little chilly because I'm not even wearing a jacket out here. But in the sunshine, it feels wonderful. It's a live look at Durham. You can see gorgeous blue sky, just a few high, thin clouds out there right now, but we're definitely not looking at any issues currently. So just get outside and enjoy. We do have some big swings in our temperatures coming up. Tomorrow we'll look at temperatures near record highs. Highs will be in the low to mid 70s. Then we're going to see a big drop in our temperature for Wednesday, 55 degrees. And then on Thursday, we'll see a high of 75 again. So we're going to see a big roller coaster ride with our temperatures. That's all because of a warm front. That warm front's going to be north of us, then south of us, and north of us again. And along with it, we may actually see a little bit of rain. And so just we'll be on the lookout for that. This afternoon, 69 in Raleigh, 68 in Durham, and 70 degrees in Fayetteville. Those near record highs for tomorrow, again in the low to mid 70s. And then check this out. We drop all the way to 55 for our high temperature on Wednesday. So it's all about that front. Again, the position of the front is going to have everything to do with the temperatures this week. We'll also see a few showers with that front. We'll take a closer look at that coming up.
Elizabeth, thank you. Happening today, a school district in our area is trying a new way to keep students focused and off their phones during class. WRAL's Noah Klein is here with us where this is happening and how it works. Noah.
Laura, this is interesting. So Harnett County is testing out Yonder pouches. You might have seen them if you've been to a comedy show or something like a concert. Western Harnett High, Highland Middle, and Star Academy are using them for the first time today. Students put their phone on airplane mode, then they put it in the pouch. They can still carry it around. A magnet then locks it. Students can unlock it when they walk out of the building. In a slideshow presentation to school board members, Yonder quoted school leaders from across the country here who praised the program, saying discipline issues were down and students were talking to one another again. The Yonder program is being used in thousands of schools across 35 countries. That's according to the company. In a letter to parents, Harnett County Schools said in the event of an emergency, parents can reach their children by calling the school and speaking to the receptionist. The pouches will also be required for any devices that potentially could connect to Bluetooth. That would include something like a smartwatch. If a Yonder pouch is damaged, there will be a $35 fee to replace it.
Noah, thanks for that.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center. I want to take you to these live pictures coming into the WRAL newsroom of Secretary of State Marco Rubio on his first overseas tour as a U.S. diplomat. He is in Central America. He started his trip actually in Panama, where he met with Panama's president, who called the meeting cordial and respectful. This comes after, of course, President Trump being reelected to office, saying that he wanted to reclaim the Panama Canal. Rubio took a message to the Panamanian president saying that China's influence in that region is absolutely unacceptable. From Panama, he's here in El Salvador, where he's touring this manufacturing plant. Rubio plans to also go to Guatemala and Costa Rica, as well as the Dominican Republic. Look for additional reporting on Rubio's Central American visit in our later newscast starting at 4 right here on WRAL.
FBI employees are being questioned about their involvement in the January 6th cases. The questions ask employees to describe their office and title and to specify their involvement in the January 6th investigations, including whether they participated in search warrants, conducted interviews, or testified at trial. More than 1,000 people pleaded guilty to federal crimes in the January 6th riot, including more than 200 who admitted to assault. The FBI has begun purging all references to diversity as a core value, including a mural at the Academy. The FBI's Office of Integrity and Compliance issued a memo ordering the destruction of materials both in hard copy and digital format that included diversity as a core value. The Bureau says it is complying with a new directive from President Trump.
Happening today, the Wake County Board of Commissioners will vote to fill the seat vacated by Matt Calabria. The board will vote on whether to appoint Sophia Jackson to that seat. Calabria resigned to become the head of Governor Josh Stein's Western North Carolina Recovery Office. If the board approves Jackson, she would fill the remainder of Calabria's term, which ends in December 2026. The board meets tonight at 5. And today as well, Durham City Council will vote on a pay structure for police and firefighters. City staff say the changes are needed because market adjustments last year resulted in salary disparities. Specifically, some lower-ranked employees' pay surpassed some higher-ranked employees. The adjustments would be minor. They include a 0.7% increase for fire truck drivers, 1.1% for police sergeants, 0.9% for police lieutenants, and 0.3% for police captains. The vote will happen at City Council's meeting at 7 tonight.
No word if dense fog this morning contributed to a crash involving a tractor trailer. That crash happened just before 7 this morning. The overturned truck blocked both exit ramps from Wade Avenue onto eastbound I-440. The tractor trailer was carrying pallets of weed killer. The ramps reopened about an hour ago. No word if the driver was injured.
Next at noon, a new video from the plane crash site in Philadelphia. What it reveals about the accident that killed 7 people.
Also, Country Queen Bee, the Grammy moment that left even her surprised.
Plus, big businesses lost. Why the outdated Durham Convention Center may be costing the city more money.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
New video from the National Transportation Safety Board is giving more insight to the deadly plane crash in Philadelphia on Friday night.
Now, this new video from the NTSB shows the scale of damage from that site of the medical jet crash. 7 people were killed, including 1 person on the ground. Emily Ikeda reports on the search for answers.
This morning, federal investigators combing through charred debris after a medical transport plane nosedived and exploded near a mall and neighborhoods in northeast Philadelphia. The crash sending people scrambling for cover. In the debris field scattered over several city blocks, the NTSB recovering both of the engines, the jet's enhanced ground proximity warning system, and the cockpit voice recorder, which was uncovered in a crater 8 feet deep. Taking off from Northeast Philadelphia Airport Friday, the Learjet was in the air for less than a minute before it crashed, killing 1 person on the ground and all 6 Mexican citizens on board, including Liseth Murillo Osuna and her daughter Valentina Guzman Murillo, who was 11 years old, according to Jet Rescue Air Ambulance. They were heading home to Mexico after 4 months of treatment at Shriners Children's Hospital. The fiery explosion also injured 22 others, according to officials. Andre Howard says his 10-year-old son was struck in the head with metal while trying to protect his younger sister.
We're supposed to be home relaxing, and we're here fighting for his life.
Beyond the yellow tape along Cotman Avenue, as many as 11 homes significantly damaged in the crash. Now, in this shaking community, the long road to recovery underway.
We will get through this moment.
That was Emily Ikeda reporting. Today, salvage teams began lifting the American Eagle regional jet out of the Potomac River. They are hoping to recover the remaining victims from last Wednesday's mid-air crash with an Army helicopter. Should any remains be found during the process, the Army Corps of Engineers says an automatic work stoppage will be put in place. Officials say the remains of 55 of the 67 victims have been recovered.
An atmospheric river brings feet of snow to the west this week. Meteorologist Chris Michaels explains what that is and if there will be any local impacts.
These atmospheric rivers, they're these long, narrow bands of moisture that come in on land, and oftentimes they're ahead of a main storm system. In the case of the western U.S., there's also some very complex terrain, so when you have that kind of conveyor belt of moisture riding up those mountains, you get some big-time rain and snow totals out there. There was a study in 2020 that showed the frequency of these atmospheric rivers in the wintertime. In the red is where you see it more than 10% of days. You notice in the western U.S., but I was actually kind of interested to see that there's often atmospheric rivers in the eastern U.S., including here in North Carolina. Now, one this week is going to be targeting the western U.S., and you can see that moisture plume that's really riding in from Hawaii into areas like California. That's going to result in some big-time rain totals and some rain in areas that have been devastated by wildfires, but it also means several feet of snow will be possible, especially as you go along the Sierra Nevada, and you can really see how that changes as we go throughout the next several days. Some folks seeing multiple feet of snow, but that's something that they tend to see anyways. On average, the Sierra Nevada near Donner Pass gets 33 feet of snow per year. Nothing like that coming our way, but I'll show you the small impact this has on our weather right now on WRAL.com.
Thanks to Chris for that. We're not seeing snow in our future.
Breaking news, nothing like 33 feet is coming.
No way.
Coming our way, yeah. Elizabeth Gardner has a spring dress on for these spring feels out there on the WRAL weather patio.
That's right. It is beautiful, and it will be even more beautiful tomorrow as our temperatures climb on up into the low to mid 70s. Take a live look at North Hills. Lots of blue sky out there. You can see some high, thin cloud cover. But of course, early this morning, parts of the viewing area were stuck under a lot of low cloud cover, some fog. But you can see how quickly that has exited the area. 61 degrees is our temperature right now. A very comfortable dew point at 45. So nice dry air mass in place. We'll take a look at the high resolution satellite, and especially look toward, say, between Kannapolis and Fayetteville. Watch how those clouds just sort of disappear. They just sort of fade away. That's where we had some of that low cloud cover and fog just faded away. It wasn't even really, cloud cover moving through. We just had that fog, and then it just dissipates. And so it's all gone, and now we're seeing some sunshine. We started yesterday with some sunshine, and then we had some clouds roll in. And as those clouds rolled in, Donna Richardson in Wendell took a picture of it, and it looked really cool moving through her neighborhood there. Go to WRAL.com/report it and send us your photos. We love to see what's happening in your backyard. You know what? I hope we're going to start to see soon. The daffodils in my yard are starting to get a couple inches high, and as warm as it's going to be over the next week or so, I think we're going to see those daffodils popping up all over. So y'all send us some pictures of your daffodils. 63 right now in Roxborough, 61 in South Hill, as well as Durham and Raleigh. It's still a little bit cooler in the east. Goldsboro's at 52, Rocky Mount at 55, Clinton's at 55. That's because the clouds have just cleared there. So those temperatures will start to warm up a little bit faster now that the sun is out there. So 69 Raleigh, 68 Durham, 70 in Fayetteville. Those are our high temperatures for today. And again, tomorrow, temperatures in the low to mid 70s. How close is that to records? Pretty close. Our record high tomorrow is 76, so just a couple of degrees from it. And then Thursday, that 74 is 3 degrees from the record of 77. So we're real close. We'll see how that goes. What we are going to see in the middle on Wednesday, nowhere close to a record. We'll be back down into the mid 50s. We're going to see a northeasterly wind start to push in on Wednesday. We'll call it a backdoor front, or we'll call it the wedge pattern that develops. And we may see a few showers with that as well Wednesday night into Thursday. This is a look at where that front is. It'll be much cooler Wednesday, some showers Wednesday night into Thursday morning. And then again, the cold front follows with another chance of some showers Thursday night into Friday. But after that, we're still looking at above average temperatures. Our temperatures are going to take us on a roller coaster ride for the next 7 days. But generally, the next 6 to 10 will be above average. So people keep asking, will we see any more snow? Will we see any? Well, it looks like we're trending above normal for much of February. So that doesn't bode well for snow, but it doesn't mean that we won't have it. It's just looking, of course, a bit less likely. 74 tomorrow, 55 Wednesday, 74 Tuesday. We're back into the 50s again on Saturday and 70s on Sunday. So hold on tight. Also, because we do have several chances for rain, I'll show you how much we could see in the next 7 days. Coming up.
A nice little ride we're going on. Thank you, Elizabeth. The road to recovery. A Raleigh police officer, Max Gillett, continues to fight for his life after being shot while responding to a domestic violence call. This afternoon at 4, we hear from a soldier who served with him.
Plus, protecting vulnerable children. WRAL Investigates sits down with a former licensed foster parent who feels the system is broken. The effort to protect our most vulnerable children. That's tonight at 6. And still ahead this noon, kids and caffeine. For years, physicians have advised against it. The new rules that could help keep kids healthy.
Plus, how messages from the past could come back to haunt an Oscar contender. Why Carla Sofia Gaskin refuses to drop out of the running.
Now, what is happening to my beautiful Beaufort camera right here? They are fogged in, no doubt. We had that dense fog advisory this morning, but it's gone for us, and it is full on there for sure. That is Beaufort here at 1223 as you look live and watch WRAL News, available on Hulu and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device.
Yeah, what a foggy view.
It's always so beautiful.
It is.
Yeah.
The effects of caffeine on children and teens is not fully known, but research has suggested many negative health impacts, including sleep problems, heart issues, and increased anxiety.
Mandy Gaither shares new guidelines from health experts on what children and teens should and should not drink.
The idea is nothing new. Concern over caffeine and added sugars in drinks has been around for a while, but some of the top health organizations have released new guidelines aimed at helping children and teens be healthier.
The reality is there's a lot of items, a lot of beverages out there, like a lot of things, are promoted as healthy, and there's no evidence that they are.
Dr. Stephen Cook with Nationwide Children's Hospital says the hope is that with these well-known organizations joining together to greenlight new beverage recommendations, it'll make it less confusing and therefore easier for parents to know what to allow and what to avoid.
What are the healthier options? And understanding how we're kind of almost being manipulated to indulge in things that really aren't healthy for us at all.
The guidelines say those ages 5 through 18 should drink plain water and plain pasteurized milk daily, the amount of which depends on factors like age, size, and physical activity. They should avoid drinks with caffeine and other stimulants, sugared beverages, and those with non-sugar sweeteners as well. The experts say to also limit 100% juice, plant-based milk alternatives, unless there's a specific medical reason to drink it, and flavored milk.
We don't want to create a restrictive type of response to this, like you never can have this. It's a once in a while type of opportunity. And once in a while isn't one a day per se. Maybe it's once a week or once every other week.
As Mandy Gaither reporting, on average, the new healthy eating research guidelines say children 5 to 8 years old should drink about 40 fluid ounces per day. 9 to 13-year-olds, about 61 fluid ounces a day. And those ages 14 to 18 should be drinking about 88 fluid ounces a day.
Well, music's biggest night did not disappoint. Social media is buzzing about the winner of this year's Country Album of the Year.
Cowboy Carter.
Look at her face, it says it all. Beyonce also finally won the one award that has evaded her. Album of the Year, of course. This was her 5th nomination for the event's top prize. And rapper Kendrick Lamar was another huge winner, taking home both record and song of the year for his anthem, Not Like Us. Doechii becomes just the 3rd woman to win Rap Album of the Year for Alligator Bites Never Heal. And members of the Los Angeles County Fire Department, they spoke before the night's top award. Other artists used the show to take a social or political stand.
DEI is not a threat, it's a gift. And the more voices, the more powerful the sound. When destructive forces try to burn us down, we rise from the ashes like a phoenix. And as you see tonight, music is the unstoppable language that connects us all. It's so beautiful.
With a livable wage and hope. The Best New Artist, Chappell Roan, called out record labels to take better care of its artists, while Lady Gaga used her winning moment to highlight trans people.
Carla Sofia Gascon will not be dropping out of the Oscars despite controversy over some of her social media statements. Gascon is nominated for Best Actress in the movie Emilia Perez. A journalist shared screenshots from Gascon's social media accounts from the past where she criticized Muslim culture, the Oscars, and the death of George Floyd. Gascon is the first transgender actress to get an Oscar nod. In a recent interview, Gascon apologized for the posts. Developing downtown Durham, the next steps for the convention center there.
And record rainfall, where a swift-moving storm is having deadly consequences. But first, let's take a look here at the winning lottery numbers. Good luck.
Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
And that breaking news starts right here in the WRAL Live Center as we take you live to these pictures coming in from the Potomac River as the salvage crews begin lifting the American Eagle regional jet out of the Potomac River. Focus your eyes on the yellow straps. That's actually holding part of the wreckage that was just pulled from the river about 15 minutes ago. We've been monitoring this salvage operation since we came on the air about a half hour ago. And of course, we don't have control of that camera, but as soon as they find any type of wreckage, that will be pulling it from the river, and if there are any bodies that they found during this salvage operation, a work stoppage will be put in place right away. So far, 55 of the 67 bodies have been recovered. Of course, after they roll the wreckage of the jet from the river, the next step will be to find the wreckage of the U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter.
Still very early days in that investigation. Thank you, Ken. Durham County is weighing next steps for a new convention center.
Yeah, a study into the old building shows that Durham's lost business because it just can't hold bigger events inside the existing building. WRAL's Monica Casey was in this morning's county commissioners meeting. And Monica, what are you hearing about that?
Overall, county commissioners say they are ready to take the next steps in the process of figuring out what is happening here. Discover Durham says this meeting was really about taking the temperature of the elected officials on whether to move forward with more study on a new build. The study that's been done so far says expanding the current site doesn't make enough of a difference, and it recommends an entirely new facility. The data shows between 2019 and 2024, Durham lost $27 million in economic impact from events that could not fit at the current convention center. Discover Durham CEO Susan Amy tells me small businesses downtown could benefit from a busier convention center.
Businesses don't have as much foot traffic as they had before the pandemic, and this is one of the ways that Durham can really provide that kind of support for them.
In their discussion today, county commissioners emphasized the need for walkability around wherever the new center may be, along with access to public transit. Commissioners also say being an economic engine for the rest of the community is just as important as the convention center itself generating revenue. Now, one of the big questions here, what would happen with the old convention center? Discover Durham says event and venue space is always needed here in Durham, and they already have interest from a few partners about the future of this building. Live in Durham, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
We now know the name of a man who was shot and killed on this scene here. This is Newcastle Road in Durham, but the motive remains a mystery. This is another look at that scene captured by the WRAL breaking news tracker on Saturday morning. Police say 40-year-old Marquez Johnson was shot around 6:20 a.m. Officers say it was an isolated event, but no one has been arrested. Goldsboro police say a man is in critical condition after he was shot while trying to break into a home. Officers responded to a shooting call just after 5:30 last night at a home on West Oak Street. At that same time, a man who had been shot arrived at UNC Health Wayne. Police determined the man who was shot, he was trying to break into a home when that happened, and no one else was hurt. Police say the man knew at least one of the people inside the home. Officers say the shooting was an act of self-defense.
President Donald Trump met with the leaders of Canada and Mexico hours before new tariffs are set to take effect. After the meeting, Mexico's president said Trump paused the tariffs for 1 month after Mexico agreed to reinforce the border with 10,000 soldiers. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey tells us some industries in North Carolina could take a hit out of all this as well.
One of the ways we could really see the impacts of those tariffs here in North Carolina is through the auto industry. The North Carolina Automobile Dealers Association here and so many other groups are bracing for this change. President Trump is putting a 25% tariff on imports from Mexico and Canada. Now, those countries plan to put tariffs on the products we sell to them. Today, we could learn just how high those tariffs could be. NC State economist Mike Walden says North Carolina exports up to $13 billion worth of products to Canada and Mexico every year.
That would mean that those auto parts that we make, that a lot of which go to Mexico for assembly, would have a tax on it, a tariff on it. We also sell pharmaceuticals, North Carolina does, to both countries, chemicals, etc.
Walden predicts these tariffs could lead to higher inflation. We could see higher prices at the grocery store and maybe even at the pump if oil from Canada is included in these tariffs.
Soldiers stationed at Marine Corps Air Station Cherry Point deployed to Guantanamo Bay to prepare for the U.S. naval base to house tens of thousands of migrants there. The first flight, also known as the Advance Party, left New River on Saturday. Sunday's group was the first flight of the main body. The process of expanding the Guantanamo facility is expected to last weeks. Yesterday on NBC's Meet the Press, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said migrants would not be held there indefinitely.
Some immigrant communities and their allies are staying home from work or school, even avoiding shopping or dining out in a day of protest. That's being called a day without immigrants, and the movement is taking off on social media. Businesses are closing and activists are organizing public events today in part to protest the deportations and rolling back of immigrant protections by the Trump administration. But another goal is to highlight how immigrants contribute to society.
Immigrants, we wouldn't have food to serve. So I think that's mainly like our point in doing that and showing people that like this is how it would affect you and how it really does affect us all.
Several of these events also took place here in North Carolina yesterday.
A massive sinkhole swallows a man in Japan. The race to rescue the truck driver trapped inside and the evacuation orders underway.
And Laza La Bon Temps Roulette, let the good times roll. The Lombardi Trophy has arrived in New Orleans ahead of Super Bowl 59. We'll show you the festive welcome as players are marching in to the Big Easy. But first, you can watch WRAL News live anytime on WRAL.com or the WRAL app on your streaming device.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, we want to take you live to Israel right now, specifically Tel Aviv. This is Keith Siegel's family. That's his daughter. I'm reading a statement from the medical center where Keith Siegel is being treated after more than 400 days in captivity. He was released over the weekend by Hamas. Of course, his wife Aviva is to his daughter's left, her right, your left. They're talking about how Mr. Siegel is doing and what the family has been through. We're monitoring this behind the scenes. We'll have some more for you later on. But of course, he was in captivity for more than 400 days. This all started when Hamas attacked an Israeli camp and on October 7th. Aviva, his wife, was released after 55 days, but the family endured so long to have him released. But finally, they got their wish over the weekend. Again, we'll be hearing from the Siegel family in a news starting at 4 right here on WRAL.
Can't wait to hear more from them later today on WRAL. Thank you, Ken. Eno River State Park is expanding by 200 acres. The State Department of Natural and Cultural Resources says the acquisition process started back in 2021. The addition includes a 4-mile walking trail surrounding the only surviving dirt speedway from NASCAR's 1949 inaugural season. An official ribbon cutting to celebrate the expansion is planned for this spring. Well, listen to this. The Star-Spangled Banner is getting a chilly reception north of the border after President Trump's move to enact tariffs against Canada. In the home of the Yeah, you can hear them booing her there. The crowd in Ottawa booed not her, the singer, but the American anthem before an NHL game over the weekend. Now, there were some similar reactions at games in Calgary and Vancouver, as well as an NBA game in Toronto.
Super Bowl 59 is Sunday, and both teams are in New Orleans now. Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles got to Louis Armstrong New Orleans International Airport yesterday. And tonight, players and coaches will make their first public appearances with hundreds of media ready to grill them on everything from the players' health to how Taylor Swift might affect the game. My guess is she's not going to play. Kansas City is looking to do what no other NFL team has ever done before, and that's win 3 Super Bowls in a row. The Lombardi Trophy also got to New Orleans in style. Former Saints star Deuce McAllister kicked off Super Bowl week with a parade through the French Quarter, giving that trophy the white glove treatment there while carrying it on a carriage. The Chiefs and Eagles will play at Caesars Superdome Sunday, and kickoff for that is 6:30. You can watch it on Fox 50.
Skip the chocolates this Valentine's Day. How Legos could help you build a love that lasts.
And parts of the land down under are underwater. How Australians are coping with record rainfall. Some children spend years in North Carolina's foster care system, sometimes bouncing between several homes in just a matter of a couple of years. And now there is a new call to fix the system and better protect our children. WRAL Investigates' Chris Levengood is here with a preview of a story you will see only on WRAL tonight.
Well, Jeff, over the past 18 months, we have covered several troubling stories involving the foster care system. We're talking about a foster mom accused of killing 2 of her children and an unsupervised girl sexually assaulted by another foster teen while inside a county social services office. One former licensed foster parent says enough is enough.
It just seems that there's no system of checks and balances where these social workers are concerned. These children are who matter, not the birth parents, not the foster parents, not like no one else in this story matters as much as the children.
Again, children. The Department of Health and Human Services oversees the foster care system. However, each county in North Carolina runs its own program. So that's 100 different programs. And tonight at 6, we'll hear from 2 attorneys suing the state. They claim the system leads to finger pointing and inconsistencies when trying to reunite families with their children, or even children finding a new family.
So what about this lawsuit? How did you find out about it? How did it come to light? And why did WRAL Investigates want to pursue this?
Well, I'll tell you what, Jeff, we found it during a routine check of federal court records, right? That's something we kind of do on a daily basis. And essentially, it caught our eye because it gave us a peek inside the foster care system. And that is one of the least transparent systems in the state. This lawsuit profiles 9 children who spent years stuck in the system. And Jeff, their stories, I mean, frankly, they are just heartbreaking.
And what is the goal? What's the end game for this lawsuit, you think?
Well, that's the noteworthy thing, right? The attorneys made it very clear they're not seeking money and they're not calling for more spending on the system. They just want the court to order the state to make fundamental changes, in some cases, simply following rules that already exist to make sure children do not languish in foster care. We'll also have the state's response to that lawsuit tonight at 6 o'clock.
So much that wasn't done for our kids. All right, Chris, we'll be tuned in. Thank you.
Well, take a look at this here. Rescue workers in Japan ran into issues this weekend while trying to reach a 74-year-old man, a truck driver that got stuck in this. His vehicle was swallowed by this massive sinkhole that formed a week ago near Tokyo. A slope for heavy machinery to enter the hole has been completed, but sewage is back flowing at the bottom of that slope, putting the safety of workers at risk. The condition of that truck driver right now is unknown. Well, at least 1 person is dead, thousands evacuated after massive flooding in northeast Australia here. Now, meteorologists say multiple areas were hammered with 23 inches of rain in 24 hours. A woman drowned after a rescue boat as she was traveling in capsized after hitting a tree in Queensland. 5 others in the boat were rescued. Local officials believe this could be the worst flooding in that area in 60 years.
6 a.m. this morning, we had a dense fog advisory, and Elizabeth Gardner said when this clears finally later in the morning, it's going to be a beautiful day out there. And that's why she headed outside, because she's right. It looks gorgeous, Elizabeth.
It is. It's really nice out here. I mean, even in the shade, it's fairly comfortable. You know, with some long sleeves on. You know, this is not a very heavy, thick dress, so it does feel nice. And more of this to come over the next few days. We take a live look at Fayetteville. Plenty of sunshine here, and Raleigh, the same thing. Or actually, that's Carrie looking at Cary there. Apex, Chapel Hill, just beautiful blue sky everywhere. A few passing clouds, a little bit of a light breeze. It's really lovely. We'll take a look at the big picture, and this is satellite and radar. We have a flow coming out of the south, that high pressure system that's between Atlanta and Tampa, rotating clockwise, pushing up some warm air. But we're going to be watching that front that's crossing the country. That warm front that's up near Buffalo actually is going to start to dive southward, and that's what's going to help to start changing our temperature. That front, kind of looks a little bit wavy right now, and that's what it's going to do over the next couple of days. Now, tomorrow is going to be really warm. Notice the yellow and orange shaded areas to the south of that front. That's where the warm air is, and then the blue colors on the north side of that front, that's where the cold air is. And so we're going to see that front just moving back and forth across our area over the next few days, and that is going to serve to really change up our temperature. So let's take a look. Here's this evening. We have a flow out of the south. It's going to be nice and warm. This afternoon, a high, or tomorrow, I should say, our high 74. So we're on the warm side of that front. And then on Wednesday, that front slides southward, and our high temperature 55 degrees. We're going to drop it 20 degrees in one day, and then we're right back at it. Once that front moves northward, we jump back into the mid 70s again. Along with this front, we're going to have the potential for some isolated showers too. And so we get into a slightly wetter pattern. It's not a lot of rain, but slightly wetter pattern starting on Wednesday. When that front drops in on us, notice those showers late on Wednesday, kind of into the first part of Thursday. That looks like a lot of rain there on Thursday. That's probably a little bit overdone. And then the cold front comes through on Thursday night and Friday, and we'll have another chance for some showers and thunderstorms too. Thunderstorms possibly Thursday, because we'll be back into the warm sector. So again, the amount of rain that we see isn't going to be terribly heavy. It's a 20% chance on Wednesday night, and then again Thursday night into early Friday, just a 30 to 20% chance. And the amount of rainfall looks pretty light, anywhere from say a 1/10 of an inch to a 1/4 of an inch for the next 5 days. Looking ahead to the Super Bowl, we're going to see some more big changes in our temperature, but right now Sunday looks like a mild day, even at 6:30. 67 degrees, so if you're going to be grilling out, I mean, this would be a Super Bowl to do it. Not all of them are comfortable for grilling out, but this one might be the one. We do have just a small chance for a shower, only a 20% chance. Saturday's cool again at 59, but we could hit 74 on Sunday, so hold on for the ride.
We will. Impressing your Valentine, the new record Americans are expected to reach money-wise, that is, for Valentine's, trying to score points with their sweetie.